Well, thanks so much for being on Cigar Lounge. Let me get some basic stuff out of the way today. First off, again, honored to have Ben Decker. Ben Decker is an OG in the Option Omega community. He's one of the first people we talked to even before we launched. We were having conversations with Ben just because he does a great job with education. He was the first person, to be honest, that I thought of when we talked about having people on the Cigar Lounge. But Ben's very busy, so we just now got him today, and we only have him a couple minutes. So I'm not going to waste anybody's time. So, with that being said, two quick important things. This is an Asylum 13. It's my Cigar Lounge go-to cigar of the month. I have no discount codes or anything like that, but Asylum 13. And then two, Matt's going to be very proud of me today because I'm saying this right now at the beginning. Options involve risks. They're not suitable for all investors. Anything that Ben and I talk about today is probably most likely backward looking and not forward looking. As always, consult with your financial advisor if you have any questions about options. This is for entertainment purposes only. So I hope you guys are entertained. So with that being said, Ben, thanks again so much. Ben, can you tell everybody who you are and what you do and where you come from and all those good things?
Yeah, so I am Ben Decker. I have a full-time job, so trading is not what I live off of. I was showing Troy, I got my personal computer over here with my Tastyworks platform, which is now being names changing to tastytrade.
I just saw that.
But I have that up during the day, but I'm working full time. Been really busy lately. I started options back in 2017. Got started on Robinhood. So it's been a long journey. When I first started, I really dove into options and I would listen to everything I could, read up on everything I could. I've really been hooked ever since. So really, yeah, options involve a lot of risk. It's not an easy thing to do. Luckily, I'm still here after coming up on 6 years, and still making money, so that's good. The first couple of years, I didn't, but I think that's a good thing.
For sure.
I did a lot of Wall Street bets type stuff, YOLOing calls and puts and all that fun stuff, but kind of settled in. I started IncomeOptionsTrading, which is a YouTube channel. I have my own website. Really trying to get education out there. I know there's a lot out there, so I try not to saturate. I don't do a lot of the basic stuff. I kind of like the intermediate to advanced type strategies. So if you do watch those, just know that if you're just getting started, probably not the best content for you. But I got some newer stuff on there, but I try to go more towards the intermediate to advanced type traders, which I would say 5+ years on the safe side.
That makes sense. What when you first started, like with options, the Wall Street bet stuff, I wasn't part of that crew. I know someone who was, and he already kind of knew about options a little bit when he started it. But what was that like doing the Wall Street bet stuff when you were new to options?
It was fun, but I think so. The first one's always free, right? Your first option trade you put on, it's a guaranteed win. So that's always positive. But
Right.
then after that, luckily, I didn't really make any like big lottery plays, and I didn't really lose a whole bunch. I think if I would have won more, I probably would have got sucked in. But I just, you buy a lot of the calls that are way out of the money for 5 cents, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna hit it big, and then you just keep losing money. You had some fun stuff, but for me, it was you lose $100 and then you make $100 and then you lose $100. So it never really panned out for me, but I didn't lose my shirt, so that was good.
Yeah, for sure. Probably a lot of learning and lessons in that too. Matt wants to know. He is the Wall Street Bets guy I was talking to. What did you do GME at all?
So I actually have, I think I have a video on my YouTube. Maybe that was AMC. I'm thinking of AMC. Uh, uh, GameStop, I did do a couple call spreads, but kept them pretty small. At that point, I had not really um, more conservative with my plays. I'm not really into gambling away my money. I last year, so I used to do earnings trades all the time.
Yeah.
Um, Last year, I only did one. I did one on Netflix. It was either, I think it was their Q1 earnings. It was earlier on in the year, but I did a short strangle, and Netflix had like a four standard deviation move. It was huge, and I lost a bunch of money.
Oh wow.
So that was
Yeah.
my last earnings play. Um, so going on a year of doing that. I used to do that more often because they were kind of like my gambling stuff. For GameStop, a couple call spreads. AMC, I did a call ratio spread. Um, I have a video on that. So I could have made a whole bunch of money, but I got out for a smaller profit. But didn't get too crazy with any of those Wall Street bet stocks like was it Bed Bath and Beyond
Oh yeah. BBY.
was one of them.
BBBY.
And,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah.
So
That makes
um,
that makes sense. One day I want to do. I might get you back on it. One day I want to do a Wall Street bets episode, just because I know a lot of people. It's funny how many people got started during that who are like actually legit option traders now, which is
I had to stop looking at that because I would with like the penny stocks on Reddit. I would the longer you read into those, the more you buy in. It's like, oh, this is the third person that's mentioned this penny stock. It must be good, and then
yeah,
it's never good.
yeah,
So kind of the same thing with Wall Street bets. You, you see everyone YOLOing, and one person hits it big, and then you're like, oh, I should do that. So
it
I've stopped looking at that. Just it influences you.
it makes total sense. Yeah. So you got out of that and you started doing a little bit more complex stuff. I don't want to jump in straight away what you do
Mm-hmm.
now, but what was that journey like, moving from Wall Street bets to kind of the next step in options trading?
Yeah, it's definitely a journey. Um, I also do some mentoring um, as well, and when people come to me, a lot of people are trying to figure out a system that they can use. And frankly, what I think is everyone has their own trading style and personality, and you got to find what works for you and what kind of trades you like. I know I jumped in here on the cigar lounge a while back, and you guys were talking double calendars. Um, I hate calendars because they're super boring.
Yeah.
But that's just my style. I hate calendars. I like even if they make money, I still don't trade them. Um, because it doesn't fit me, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't fit other people. So know, the first couple of years, like the first year, it's a lot of uh, buying calls, buying puts, maybe spreads, iron condors, nothing really fancy. And then after year one, after you get the basics down, I really did a bunch of different strategies and tried to find stuff that I like. And I've gotten it down to, I'd say, less than 10 strategies that I use on a consistent basis. Um, Zero DT is one of them. Got some longer term hedges, both intermediate and kind of like a black swan hedge type deal. So I have some of those, and then some call them income strategies, which are uh, positive delta trades, playing into that upward drift. I haven't done those uh, in over a year just because of the market we're in. But before that, it's a lot of um, call spreads, financed by short puts, that kind of stuff.
What you mentioned like some of them you do. depending on the market condition. You don't want to talk about too much, but like what does it look like the last year for you as far as how you see the market? How do you determine which trades you want to put on? Because that's one of the things I respect about you. You're not a vanilla guy. You don't have like this vanilla system. Like you know you kind of have a pretty wide book of trades that you do, which I appreciate. Like that shows as an options nerd that you understand Greeks a little bit and things like that, which I'm always a big fan of. So um, yeah, to talk your book a little bit, what do you see in the market now, and how do you determine what trade to put on a day-to-day basis?
So really on a day to day, the stuff that I've really been putting on are the zero DTE. I didn't go in today. Market is up from this morning, but with it was a PPI number. I think today the market had a nice gap down, so I didn't. I sat out today. On a side note, I'm really glad that there's 5 days of trading now for zero DTE because I in the past, if today was obviously Thursdays weren't on the list, but if it was Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and today was a Wednesday, I would feel like I would have to trade no matter what. But now with 5 days, I'm not scared to sit out, and that's something that I've learned too. Is cash is also a position. If you end the day without losing money, then that's a win too. So zero DT, I'm in basically every day. Like I said, I have a full-time job, so it's 10 to 15 minutes at the open, and then check it every half hour or so, putting on some other tranches. It takes 5 minutes. I put a stop on. I have some alerts that I do, stuff like that. But so that's really my main bread and butter that I've been doing. I also do some short puts on MES that I do, longer term stuff. Then I have a whole bunch of intermediate hedges, which I not risk free hedges. They're like income hedges where I still make money. They're not a drag on my account, but if you don't know what you're doing, it can be a big loser. So I don't really share those just because it's there's a lot of extra risk. Like a hedge, a lot of times you can buy teenies where you just buy puts that are way out of the money. Like 90 days out or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's whatever you lose is whatever you pay for it, and that's your max risk. But that's a drag on your account. What I do is do stuff for credits, but then there's risk until you leg out. So a lot of hedges this past year, and my intermediate hedges have worked well just because we didn't really have the COVID type down move. It was kind of a gradual down move, so I had a lot of good wins in that.
I'm
Um,
I'm a hedge guy, so I'm
I haven't
interested.
really seen.
Oh, go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Sorry. Well, I was just going to ask it.
Uh,
Just guessing some of those intermediate hedges, are they positive theta, and then they start out with small gamma, and then the gamma, your positive gamma up to a certain point as time gets closer at a certain strike? Does that make sense?
so yeah, it depends on where the market's at. Yeah, they start out. So a lot of them they're similar to like broken wing butterflies.
Mhm.
Um, very similar to those. It's not exactly, but kind of that setup. And then as the market moves away from the structure, you can get in and out of things, and then you kind of get these three butterflies in the end.
Gotcha.
And so you have a bunch of it humps on the tail end. So that's kind of the intermediate
I got
kind
that.
of
That makes
overview.
sense. So you're doing 0 day every day for the most part, and like today, like you said, you didn't put anything on. Is that based on is that based on a rule, or is that one of those things where you're like, no, I feel like I'm good enough to be discretionary, and so that's purely discretionary?
So not really a hard rule. So I've been the last couple of weeks, Twitter, I've been posting high impact market moves for the week for zero DTE. So I just use Forex Factory. That calendar is really good. Anything that I have read, which is high impact, I use a lot more caution. So like this week, it was Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I sat out Tuesday. I sat out today. I played yesterday. So it's kind of discretionary. I was going to play today, but with that big gap down, I figured that there'd be some wild swings, so I sat out. I don't think there's really been that crazy of wild swings today. Yeah, it's just kind of been a grind up for the most part.
Yeah.
So it would have been okay today, maybe, but more just my discretion. But any day where it's a high impact day, I use a lot more caution.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So you started income options trading, and then what's that been like? Because I mean, just as a side, like you have a job, it's starting as a side hustle, probably building into something over time that's a lot bigger than that. What's that been like, kind of managing that?
It's been pretty tough. So with working full time and just had a son coming up on a year, so been busy as a having a young one, two young ones now. So it's been pretty busy. So you might have noticed, or if you follow me on YouTube, I haven't really put out that many videos lately just because I've been so busy.
Sure.
I want to get into that more, so get more education out there on some things that I like to do that might not be really out there for other from other people. Like tastytrade, option alpha. They have a lot of good introductory stuff, but not a whole lot of intermediate to advanced level stuff. So I want to get some more of those things out there.
Yeah,
Eventually here.
And I agree with number 27 detective that over here in the chat that you do fill a great niche on YouTube. That your stuff is like it's still very like user friendly. Uh, it's very approachable, but it's not like baby intro level, and not baby in a bad way,
Right.
like nefarious way, but like Tasty Trade, they're really good at like 101, 101, 101 level stuff, and like
Mm-hmm.
there's not a big niche and I think you have filled it where between there's like a spectrum where it goes like straight from like Tasty Trade 101 to like Nassim, like deviation skews and how you're
Right.
doing those things. And so you do a great job with that. So just shout out to that for sure.
Well, thank you. And I also like the stuff that I like to show the platform when you're trading. I don't paper trade. I kind of did a little bit, but not really. I just trade small. Learning. For me, it was I'd rather just get into it and try it and see how it goes, and just be smart with it.
Yeah.
Instead of just doing textbooks and just learning about the Greeks, because I mean you don't really understand what delta is until you start watching uh, options that you put on.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Like that's the thing with Greeks. They're so kind of mathematical and like theoretical that once you've played around with them together enough in an actual trade, you start to understand in a way you never would in a textbook.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, no, I think the people need you, although I'm sure the babies need you too right now. So, but that phase
Yeah,
goes quickly. So hopefully you can get back to it soon.
yeah, and with deltas or with the Greeks too, I look at them at a portfolio level, but not really at a trade level for the most part. Delta's really the only one I look at from a individual trade at this point.
Yeah, that makes sense. Um, yeah, thanks, Alex. People are putting this stuff
Yeah,
in there for you, which is good. And I'll
thank
put
you.
all
Appreciate it.
that in the cigar lounge at the end too, your YouTube channel and all that stuff. Um, One of the things I wanted to ask you, I know I want to be cognizant of your time. So if you guys have any questions or anything like that, shoot them in the chat real quick. Yeah, what does one-on-one coaching look like? For those who are interested in it, which I would highly
Yeah,
recommend. I think.
yeah, I don't have any like course set up. It's really, I want whoever is interested to get the most out of it. So, you know, I've had people reach out and say, "Hey, I'm just starting options. Can you help me out?" And I'll say, I can, but I'll send them to tastytrade or wherever Investopia to learn, because there's so much stuff out there. Some people are learn better with someone going through it with them, which is fine. So I try to gear more towards the intermediate to advanced level traders. If you're trying to take the next step, that's something that I would like to help. But I don't have a course, so it's really whatever you feel you need um, help with or want more uh, more guidance. And if you want to reach out to me, email is IncomeOptionsTrading@gmail.com. We can talk through some things. And a lot of times, if you have questions and they're relatively simple answers, like just email them and I'll get back to you. Like, you don't have to set up a one-on-one to get a lot of the smaller answers. It's really the bigger picture things. If people want to talk through, then the one-on-one is uh, what I would recommend.
I love that. I love that you freaking don't have like. I really, it's a pet peeve of mine when people do coaching of any type, and they really have a specific thing that they already know exactly what they're going to do. So someone comes and it's like, I want to learn about this thing, and you're like, sure, you're going to pay me to teach you the thing I want you to learn, which I appreciate that you are. I appreciate you just sit there and you're like, what do you want to learn? I think that's helpful. I think that's kind, which is rare sometimes. So I appreciate that.
Yeah. So whenever people reach out, and it's like I said, if you're a beginner, I will steer you away. Like, I don't I don't want I just don't want people to pay me and not get anything out of it. So, like, I ask people to come up with agendas first before I even recommend it. Because if they come up with an agenda and it's a lot of stuff that you can find online, I'll just look at these sites, and if you still want more information, then come back. But if it's more intermediate, then yeah, let's dive in. I love talking options too. A lot of times, uh, so it's usually a 1 hour thing. My wife kind of hates it, but sometimes I'll talk for 2 hours, and then it's usually my fault because I won't shut up. Um, but I the reason I started income options trading is I love teaching people what I know, and I've been really passionate about it. So whatever I can do to give back to the community. And I see Tammy join for zero DT. I got started because of her. She the things that she was putting out to the community. I that's how I started. I do things very similar but different. But uh, she's really started the foundation. So whatever I can do to help out other people, I'm willing to do.
No, you're awesome, man, and I appreciate you so much for taking the time. I know you're super busy. I know you got to go here in a minute. Anybody got any other questions? I have one more, so throw them out there. But uh, my question is, you work, you have children, you you have a pretty big side hustle. Options takes a lot of brain power, but then you're a Facebook mod out of one of the craziest, funnest, most fun, but one of the craziest groups I think you could be a Facebook mod in, which is financial options. What's that like? What's being a financial or a Facebook mod like?
It's a lot of fun. We're so shout out to Tammy again. Tammy and Matthew both reached out, and I was happy to do it. It's been fun to see the community grow, and kind of be in the backstage of it. So it's been fun.
Yeah, no, I can't imagine. I can't imagine that world. I can't imagine like your Facebook dashboard sometimes, what you're seeing.
Oh yeah, you wouldn't believe how many bots try to get in on a daily basis and how many actually do. It's I don't think nor or the common folk really understand all that we're fighting on the back end, with the bots. So shout out to the other mods for helping out with that too. So
Yeah.
I've been pretty busy the last several months, so I haven't really done a whole lot, but yeah, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, you guys are doing good work. All right, two more questions, and we'll let you go. I know you're busy. Alex Beck said, "Do you have a favorite back test in general?" And I always like to broaden that out. Do you have like a favorite back test in general, like a style of back test?
Uh, a lot of zero DT stuff. I haven't really been back testing it too much. Um, the last big one that I did spend a lot of time on was the DGSS, the Davin Godwin synthetic strangle. I have shared a short video on that too, but I haven't traded that because I think VIX was supposed to be above 23. It's it's in the 18 handle right now, so I haven't traded that in the last couple months. I know other people still have, but that has been my last really big one that I did a couple months ago. Um,
That makes sense. All right, final question. What's your favorite Greek?
uh, really vanilla. It's got to be Delta. Um,
Delta?
it's direction of the market. I like to keep a negative delta in my overall portfolio. Um, it's the one that I look at every day and keep in track the most. Um, so delta, and then beta 2 I look at for my overall portfolio for seeing how much is really at risk. So those are kind of the two that I look at on a daily basis.
Kirk threw the final one, threw the gauntlet down for the final one. Any second order
Yeah,
Greeks?
nope. I really haven't. I've been my zero DT trading is pretty simplistic for the most part. It's
Yeah.
put it on at the beginning of the day based on credit and delta, put on stops, have alerts, and then I just kind of go back to work. So not really. No, I don't watch the screen all day. I have it up, but I'm not. I'm too busy to be trying to scalp it or whatever. So I do that. I usually try to put on a couple more tranches throughout the morning. In like 15-minute intervals maybe.
Yeah.
But nothing super mechanical. Like I don't. Oh, it's 9:30 Central. Now I need to put on another one. It's like if I got a little gap in time between meetings or whatever, I'll take a look and I'll throw something on.
Yep.
So pretty simplistic.
Nope, that makes sense. I told you we'd keep you to 30 minutes, so I'm gonna let you go. But man, I appreciate you taking the time so much. Everybody say thanks to Ben. He's awesome. We'll put all his info in the Cigar Lounge channel. And then I believe next week, we have very special guest as well. Miss Tammy Chambliss is going to be joining us in the Cigar Lounge. So um, we I'm blessed that we just have been able to just have some bangers here the last couple weeks. So it's
I'm
awesome.
glad I don't have to follow her.
No, I appreciate it.
Can't follow Tammy.
I'm like gonna
So
fast and like run a mile and train just so I can be prepared for it. So it's gonna be awesome. But I
yeah,
appreciate
looking
you,
forward
man.
to that one.
Yeah, thanks, man. Well, thanks so much for taking the time, everybody. We'll plan on seeing you next week. As always, reach out to Ben. We'll put all his info in Cigar Lounge. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your trading day. So we'll see you guys soon. Bye.